Hey friends, welcome back to Find the Joy with Jen. Today's episode might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but also incredibly relieving because I want to talk about something I see over and over again with good LDS and Christian men and women. Whether you're married, divorced, or somewhere in between, you feel like something is off. Not sinful, not rebellious, not broken, just off. And yet, the message you keep hearing, sometimes from others and sometimes from your own inner critic, is try harder, pray more, serve more, be more grateful, fix your mindset, strengthen your faith. But what if none of that is actually the problem? Today, I'm going to be primarily speaking to LDS and Christian women because that's who I've been interviewing and building a new coaching program for. But if you're a man listening right now, I don't want you to tune out. The principle that I'm talking about today applies to you too, my friend. This isn't about gender. It's about alignment. It's about what happens when you're doing all the right things, but something still feels off. It's about following directions that no longer match your destination. So whether you're a husband, father, divorced, single, remarried, or somewhere in between, stay with me, friends. I think you're going to see yourself in this conversation too. But before we jump in, if you're navigating divorce, separation, or trying to rebuild a life after a really hard season, you are in the right place. I talk about faith, healing, emotional strength, and real life strategy for moving forward. So take just a second and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes that are here to support you through every stage of your journey. So let's talk about what's really going on underneath the surface for so many good, faithful men and women. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you're driving somewhere important. You plug the address into your GPS and you follow all the instructions exactly. You take the turns, you stay on the route, you don't deviate, you trust that voice guiding you. But after a while, you look around and realize something doesn't look right. This does not feel aligned. Something is off, but you double down and think, maybe I just need to listen closer, follow the directions more precisely. So you try harder. You pay closer attention. You stay committed to that route. But here's the real issue. You're not lost. You're simply following directions that no longer match your destination. That is what I see happening to so many faithful Christian. You are disciplined, you are obedient, you are committed. You have followed all the directions you were given all of your life to be a good wife, to be a supportive mother, to be selfless, to be forgiving and patient. You put everyone else first. You trusted the system. You stayed strong. And somewhere along the way, your destination shifted. Or maybe you finally realized what your heart actually longs for, but the directions were never updated. So today I want to walk you through 10 things that I see good Christian women often think are the problem versus what is actually going on underneath. This is not about blame. This is just about clarity because clarity changes everything, my friends. So, number one, I've lost my joy. What's actually going on is you've been living on responsibility instead of alignment, doing all those right things and then missing all the joy. Joy doesn't disappear because you're ungrateful. It fades when your life no longer reflects who you really are. Number two, I'm just burned out. What's actually going on is you've been emotionally over functioning for way too long. You're carrying more than God ever asked you to carry and calling it or believing that that is righteousness. Number three, I must not be doing enough spiritually. What's actually going on underneath that is you're disconnected from your own voice. You're consuming spiritual input, but you haven't been taught how to discern your own desires, boundaries, and needs within your own faith. Number four, I'm too emotional. What's actually going on is your emotions are telling you the truth. Emotions aren't weakness, my friend. It's information, important information that you need to learn from. Number five, I'm failing or I failed in my marriage. What's actually going on is you may have lost yourself trying to keep the peace, and you cannot sustain intimacy when self abandonment is the price. So important. Number six, I should be past this by now. What is actually going on underneath that? You've never been given a safe, structured space to actually process what you have been through. Healing doesn't just happen because time passes, it happens because truth is faced. Number seven, I just need to forgive more. What's actually going on here? You may be confusing forgiveness with bypassing. Forgiveness does not mean ignoring patterns, suppressing pain, or tolerating misalignment. Number eight, something must be wrong with me. What's actually going on here? You've been living in a role instead of living into your true identity. Good women burn out when they forget who they are underneath all of their responsibilities. Number nine, I don't trust myself anymore. What's actually going on here? You were trained to outsource your authority to leaders or to your spouse or to expectations. Reconnection, not correction, is what restores self trust. And number 10, I just need more faith. What's actually going on here is you don't need condemnation. You need clarity. Faith actually grows stronger when you allow your trust to resurface. So here's the deeper pattern that I see so many women say. I don't know what God wants from me, but what's often happening underneath that is you don't know what you want anymore because you've been so busy living up to what you think God or other people expect you to do. Somewhere along the way, you lost your connection to your desires, your voice, your emotional truth, and your sense of identity outside the roles that you hold. And no amount of trying harder fixes that. Only clarity does. This is exactly why I created my new exclusive 90-day women's coaching intensive. It's not a class. It is not a checklist. It is not a try harder message or system. This is a guided realignment process for LDS and Christian women who are ready to update their internal GPS system. Women who want their life to reflect both their faith and their authentic self. Over the intentional 90 days, we work on identity, emotional clarity, boundaries, healing from faith confusion, rebuilding self-trust, and realigning your life with truth rather than pressure. This is deep work, my friends, but it is done in a small, safe, confidential container. And it is for women who are ready to stop white knuckling their way through life and start living aligned. I'm only inviting a small number. I'm keeping this group intentionally small. So if something in this episode has felt like a quiet yes inside of you, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are not failing, and you are not faithless. You may simply be following directions that no longer match your destination. And alignment is learnable. So I have just opened up enrollment and it is very limited. So if you feel called and ready for this work, you can go to my website, findthejoywithjen.com, to find out the details to apply today. And whether or not you ever work with me, please remember this. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to trust yourself again. And God is not disappointed in you for seeking clarity. He is a God of truth, and truth always leads to freedom. Before I close, I want to say something important. Even though today's episode is primarily focused on Christian women, this message applies to everyone listening, men included, because misalignment does not discriminate. You may not be a woman who has lost herself in her roles, but you may be a man who has lost himself in performance, responsibility, or pressure. You may be a husband who feels disconnected, a father who feels unsure, a single person wondering why life feels stalled, a divorced man trying to rebuild your life, a woman who is married but quietly struggling, a widow navigating a new identity. The principle is still the same. You're not lost. You may simply be following directions that no longer match your destination. So, here are a few ways that you can apply this episode right now, even if you never join my coaching program or work with me. First, pause and ask yourself, what destination am I actually trying to reach right now? Is it peace? Is it connection? Is it confidence? Is it purpose? Second, ask, are the directions I am following aligned with that destination, or are they inherited expectations? Third, get honest about one area where you may be living reactively instead of intentionally. And finally, ask God directly, not what you should be doing, but what alignment looks like for you in this season. Clarity begins with honesty. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to stop pretending that exhaustion equals righteousness. Alignment is available to all of us, my friends. Now, I want to close with this. I see you, and God sees you. You are not forgotten, my friend. You may not get fairness in this life. You may not get the closure that you're seeking. You may never get an apology that you're waiting for, but you can still have peace. You can still have healing, and you can still have joy in your life again. Stay in the faith, my friends. God knows your story and He knows your timeline. If you are listening or watching this episode and realizing how overwhelming the emotional or relational side of your life feels right now, I want you to know you don't have to figure this out alone. I work with men and women navigating these exact seasons. People who feel stuck, confused, hurt, or just unsure about the next step in their life, but who want clarity, healing, and peace before making major life decisions. I would truly love to support you. The best way to get started is with a free Reclaim Your Joy strategy session with me. This is a private, faith-centered space where we look at where you are, where you want to go, and I help you leave with at least one practical tool that you can use right away to move forward with more confidence and peace. And if you are a woman feeling called for a deep transformation, the Joyful Covenant Woman may be your next step. Either way, you're not alone in this process. Alignment is possible, peace is possible, and joy is possible, my friends, and you are worthy of all three. Thanks so much for being here today, friends. If this video has helped you, please take just a second and give it a thumbs up. That will help more people who are hurting find this message. Thanks so much for being here, Joy Seeker. Remember, there is still joy ahead for you, my friend, and I can help you find it. Bye, y'all.